Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live, episode 13. Bounty is upon us. It is upon us. We've got a lot more than just Bounty to talk about, though. Kickstarter kind of hit us with a pretty big update today. Lots of different stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, we do have the wonderful Ren. How are you doing, Ren?
Not bad. How are you, Liam?
Very good. Look at that haircut, guys.
See?
Ren is
haircut day at TFC today.
He's looking swish, And of course, the wonderful Robin. Rue, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you guys?
Good. Oh, and look, the Rue's got a haircut. He's still got his lucky hat on.
Yeah, I know. I need to change that.
No, it looks good. It looks good. Well, tonight, guys, at the moment, there's just three of us. I'm not sure if there will be more. But the three of us is plenty anyway. We've got tons to talk about, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Rue's going to share the slides, so I will lock on to that, and I'll let you run away with it, Rue.
Okay. Well, big update this week. We've got a couple of new TLCs that we're going to be going through, as well as Bounty Season 8, and then we had a bunch of bug fixes and balance changes that came up this week. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First one is Abyssal Invasion TLC. This one runs from the 28th through until the 4th. These are new skirmish targets, and they're aimed towards hunters, fangtooths, or the new proto Tideseeker fleets.
Price so pack I can say they're not new, but they are easier.
Well, that's good. I'll take easier over newer.
I tried prize pack 1, and I think I did the first 2 targets with hunter fangs, and the third target with hunters, and the damage was very, very low. So
yes,
same
here. So I did prize pack 1 with hunters. I drove them. I did not do an auto, so probably I should have done an auto, because when I drive them, I take more damage usually. And I finished prize pack 1 with 1 hour, 36-minute damage to the fleet.
Well,
it's boring. It's the same old targets that we see over and over. They're just like a lot easier. They're the easy mode.
Easy mode. We like easy mode.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's good. So let's talk through the prizes. Prize pack 1 has 2 of the single-day Conquest Yard tokens, as well as the KB1 kinetic buffer. Prize pack 2 has a new penetrative overlay, as well as a bunch of structure build tokens and Conquest Yard tokens. And then run number 3 gives us the new DTR transformer, as well as the new Reaver trap, the unstable magnetic zone, and then 3 one-day Conquest Yard tokens. And just a note, Chris put this in the notes, but pay attention to the tokens, because Conquest Yard tokens can only be used for the actual construction of the Conquest Yard. These are not to build ships. I know people have had issues when redeeming in the past.
Do you remember how long it takes to build the Conquest Yard from scratch?
If you don't have any friends, I think it was about 42-ish days.
No, that was the gantry. Was that for the Conquest Yard as well?
Conquest Yard was really long.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just doing the math there quickly, and if you can do all 3 packs, you get 7, 9, 12 days of tokens to get it expedited.
Yep.
Well, I think like they were doing the daily sort of the daily things you can buy. There was wasn't there one, and it was 7-day tokens, or a couple of 7-day tokens for the Conquest Yard?
Yep, they were really cheap. They also had Conquest Yard tokens in the raid, and then they've also had Conquest Yard tokens in bounties.
But I still think it's worth collecting these, because you can bet your wallet that at some point the Conquest Yard will probably get an upgrade. So save them.
Yep. Okay,
now,
so moving on.
Does everyone know? I suppose everyone knows what these specials are for, right? The kinetic buffer and... Oh, you have them over there. You're so good at that, Ru.
No, that's okay. I did not put the kinetic buffer because that one has been on for a while. Okay. But I did put all the new stuff in.
Yeah, just wonder if new players will know, oh, what is that for? So that's something you put in your outpost, preferably, to make enemy projectiles move slower, giving your countermeasures more time to shoot them down. So that's the kinetic buffer in 30 seconds.
Nice. You want to run with the others?
Yeah. Me? No, you do it.
Come on, Ren.
Okay, penetrative overlay. That's something you put on buildings, preferably on those 3 there that give you a bonus. You see the Outpost, Naval Lab, or Advanced Lab, and it will make your ships better. Now, I think there's a typo on the print because all other overlays, they give plus 20% of their type, and then if you put on the 3 buildings, you give 50% of the same type. This one, for some reason, gives 20% penetrative, and then if you put on those 3, it says it gives explosive, which I think it's wrong. It should be penetrative as well.
Do we have anyone like Laredo in the chat that could clarify that one? Because that would be important, because you could dual aura cap free of the explosive overlay.
Yeah, I'm going by logic here, right? And
Yeah,
I know Kickside doesn't always like logic, but the description says penetrative, the name says penetrative, the regular buff is penetrative, and all the other overlays, corrosive, concussive, explosive, they all give that one type 20% and 50% on the special building. So this has to be a typo.
Okay, so
someone in chat was just saying that it is a typo.
Okay, yeah, we've got the Battle Parts Crib in the chat. Hi, guys. And they are saying, yeah, it will be corrected to brain.
Okay. So anyways, you put it at it's short range, so it's usually used in the central island, and then your structures, your turrets, your warehouses, your outposts over there will just last longer against this. Now, here's a good thing. You can have 3 of those, but you can combine them with a tactical module called Combined Defense that also gives penetrative building defense, except it's for turrets only, not all buildings. Turrets and walls, I think. So you can actually get, and I do that with explosive overlay today, plus Combined Defense, you can get some turrets like way over 80% resistance. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. I actually shuffled around a lot of tactical modules myself today and took off on many stuff, took off splash reduction and replaced it with explosive overlay because it was much more beneficial. I don't know if missiles hitting my middle island is an issue for me right now, but I'm sure there'll be a time when this does have a good use.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next one, the DTR transformer.
Well,
it's the first time ever I see that. So if you saw and read it before, go for it.
Yeah, Rue, you run away with this one. You know.
Okay, I'm a runner. This one gives bonus range, reduces damage, but does add additional defense capabilities. Now, I think the original transformer gave bonus range, but didn't give...
took away defense and damage.
Took away defense.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's a little bit of range. And just remember that plus 10 is not plus 10% range, it's plus 10 range. So if your turret has range of 105, it's going to have 115. It's just flat plus 10.
Question. Does it work on countermeasure turrets?
It does.
So it would run great on your elite countermeasures?
It could.
Yep. And this is a good one for folks that were not able to go ahead and get the first version as well, because it's been a long time since we've seen the other original version come out.
Yeah. I just wonder about the build time. I didn't have a chance to check, but the original one had build times of like 14 days and some other stupid times like that.
Not good.
Okay, the new Reaver trap, the unstable magnetic zone. This one utilizes a series of extremely powerful electromagnetic coils. The Reavers have managed to create this trap which reduces accuracy and splash for any foes within range. And that's a very large range.
115, yeah.
Yep. So that's a very large range. Reduces accuracy by 25% and then splash by 50%. Is also cold snap immune. And then it has a favored faction of Reaver. This one has a berserk. Lasts about 25 seconds. Duplicate aura cap of 1. Further reduces accuracy and splash damage and splash even further.
Yeah, and just to help people understand, because some people are going to read that and say, oh, so it normally cuts my splash by 50% and then goes berserk and it's plus 50%. So is it going to cut splash down to 0?
Well,
the way I understand, it's, let's say your splash is 20, the normal effect is going to cut it down to 10. The berserk effect will cut it down to 5, because 50% of what's left. That's how I understand it to be. It's not going to cut it, oh, it's minus 50, so minus 100%. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. What I am kind of liking about how this was released, I don't know how long the build time is, but this is being released in a TLC, so there shouldn't be research time on this.
No, it's a blueprint.
Yep. So we don't have that long research before we do the long build.
And the cool thing is that because it's another underwater trap, it works even after the gate is killed.
I have a question, right? Do you give me an example of where you would use this, where it would benefit you?
Well, the onslaughts, they don't have remote targeting range. So when they shoot rockets and mortars, if you build them like that, they will be running through your channel to do so, right? The onslaughts, not the onslaughts and the bus. Those can fire from the outside, so it won't help against them. But it will help against onslaught. As they are driving through there, their splash will be seriously compromised. And the same thing for the storm cruisers. Their accuracy will be severely compromised. Doesn't make a difference against the build, against the turrets and the other buildings, but helps against guard ships, right?
Yeah, I mean, the accuracy will really affect MSC. You're right, and I think that the splash will really affect onslaughts. Like for me, I was curious because for me the problem is the sloths, and this is something that won't affect them. Do you know what I mean?
It won't. You're right.
Like the splash off of the sloths is the problem, whereas the MSC or the onslaught's normally the spotter these days. So I was curious about it, was all. But I guess it forms into that whole rock paper scissors kind of scenario, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to help you against like anything firing from the outside, but anything that has to pass through this gate will be affected, and especially because that berserk goes on and off every 30 seconds, right? So I believe the clock starts, it goes on for 25 seconds, then it cools down for 5 seconds, and then it's on again for 25 seconds. So you're going to have to time your passage through that gate, you know, if you want to reduce the impact on your hit.
Andrew Hopwood in chat, appreciate that, Andrew, has said that it takes 1 day, 1 hour, and 55 minutes to fit.
Including the time to replace previous strap. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he had said it was about 93,000 in base parts to put it on. So that's a good quick fix and switch out.
Yeah, now here's the thing, right? At least in the game as it is today, people are attacking our bases and they're getting in, but they're getting in without killing the guard ships already. In most cases, the guard ships, they survive the hit, at least some of them. Reducing accuracy, it doesn't help against, it doesn't help your turrets live any longer. That's my point. Because the missiles always have accuracy 100% against buildings, right? So it's just the splash damage, I suppose, and the splash damage reduction that are being reduced. That helps your turrets last longer. So the good thing is people trying the tactic here's the good thing, when people are trying to hit some guard ship to splash kill the island, if you put that gate right where they usually stop to do that trick, their splash range and their splash damage will be severely compromised. So if you place it right, you could reduce the effectiveness of that trick.
Yeah, I guess, you know, a sort of an item for every scenario is kind of where Kickstarter taking us.
Yep. Okay. Moving on to the next TLC, we've got Titan Rising. This one is a mega ship TLC, so obviously one must have a mega to do it. This one runs from the 27th through until the 30th. There are 4 prize packs with this one. First prize pack is the rocket module, the pyro engine module, as well as 6 6-hour mega class tokens. Now, these tokens are new. Chris was nice enough to give me a screenshot of them. These are not specific to a module, which is what we've seen in the past. So these should work on anything. And then prize pack 2, we've got the missile strike drone module for those that don't have it, as well as the drone bridge and more mega class tokens. Prize pack 3 gives us the Exocet missile and mega tokens. And then prize pack 4 gives us the new rocket strike drone module, as well as mega class tokens. And here we have,
new.
Yep, brand new strike zone module. Love the artwork on these. Fully unreactive drones come with built-in rocket and prioritize attacking enemy fleets before attacking enemy modules. So these ones are going to help if your mega gets hit and there is a bunch of support from other players with fleets. This one does not attack other drones. Unlike other modules, standard weapons, special, and armor slots located on the drone are equipped directly to the drone itself instead of the module. So this is another different from the other ones. And the drones do not need to be repaired. So here we've got
people who already had the drones before. It's the exact same mechanic, nothing new, except the older drone came equipped with the missile, and this one comes equipped with the rocket. I think that's primarily the difference. Even the initial level 1 deflections are the same.
Did the other ones attack fleets first?
Yes, exact same thing.
Okay. Okay, so here we have the stats for the drone module. Yep.
Yeah, so the changes, like as you upgrade that to levels 2, 3, 4, deflection goes up. In many cases, the pass-through goes up as well. I don't know in this case, but in the older drone, it did. And you get more weapon slots, more armor slots, and more special slots as you upgrade the drone. So that's definitely one module you want to upgrade if you can up to level 4. I have mine at level 2 right now.
Yeah, I actually was able to play Prize Pack 2 and get the first drone module for the first time, which was great. I don't know if I could do Prize Pack 3, but I'll give it a try.
Yep. And here are the stats for the actual strike drone itself. So we've got corrosive deflection, ballistic deflection, as well as penetrative deflection. Low pass-through on these. For ballistic, a little bit higher for corrosive and penetrative. Combat speed of 65 and turn speed of 40. And so the built-in rocket strike drone has 15,000 in damage, salvo of 3, 1.1 reload time, and this also has splash and accuracy built into this as well.
Nice. See, the megas is kind of a lost science on me. You know, I'm trying to get into it, but it still boggles me a little bit. I don't know. Sorry, go on. I don't mean to.
No, that's okay. All right, moving on to the Charged Path Co-op TFC. This one, of course, started yesterday. They threw it out there early for us. It's running through until April the 3rd at midnight. This is a single silo co-op TLC. Target 1 is an assault target. Phoenix fleets work really well on this. The prize that you're going to get is 5 of the radioactive charged nth armors, as well as Siege Battery 4. Target number 2 is for skirmish fleets. You need fangs for this one. Prize on this is 5 of the ballistic charged armor, as well as iron thrusters 4. And then target 3 is a siege target. Either Buckies or Hydras will work in this. This one gives 5 single-day siege class build tokens, which of course can be used on any siege class hull, as well as the armor for the CL3 armor. Now on this, if you don't have all of the fleets, for example, let's say you don't have Fangs, but you have Phoenix and you have the Hydras or the Buckies, don't be afraid to shout out on comms. I know most sectors folks are out there helping people to be able to get these charged armors. I know, Ren, you did a bunch last time too, didn't you?
Yeah, I cracked a bunch for other people. All they had to do was join, started with the gunboat and sit on the corner and watch the show.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I mean, there's absolutely no excuse for people not to get these prizes. Just give a holler in sector comms or ask for help in your alliance, and I'm absolutely certain people will help. And Pack 3, I like those Siege class build tokens because they help with the flagships. We usually see a lot of tokens for Buccaneers, the regular ones, or for the regular Hydras, but I don't remember seeing many tokens for the flagships, and those can be used in the flagship. So that's what I would recommend people should do.
Yeah, we had a conga line going in our sector where one person was doing like all the level 1s, the other person was doing all the level 2s, and the other one was doing all the level 3s. So even somebody that doesn't have all the fleets was actually able to help out. So it was really good to see.
If I can pick, I'll help people with level 1 and 3 because I hate those skirmish targets like with a passion. They're just extremely boring and long ass and slow, and there's nothing to like in them. But
Yeah, I ran through it last night. I don't know if is it exactly the same. I seem to find it. I seem to take less damage than I did last time around, but I don't know if that's because my fleets have kind of gained.
You're getting better.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say I've done many of them, and I did, at least to me, it did seem like the skirmish target, the Fang one, the ships didn't have quite as much armor on it.
Because normally, not like the first one, I just do with the carriers, and the third one I just auto with Buckies or do Hydras, but the second one is the one I hate. And last time I'm sure I died in it and just had to go and repair and go in again, but this time I didn't die, and that's progress as far as I'm concerned.
Last time I was running Silent Hunters, and this time I didn't run it, and it was actually quicker for me that way. So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I can deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so again, if you don't have this done or you can't do this, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are a lot of folks that are out there helping people get them, and these are the charged armors that you want for the raid. Okay. Buried in the bounty discussion, which we're going to go through here in a minute, was a couple of notes from Chris on a PvP update. Basically, what Kix is saying is that the PvP swing rate is going to begin to slow down moving forward. Their thoughts are that the right pieces are now in place to allow for newly released content to have fair viability for both attackers and defenders. This means that when new PvP content is released, there will be tech already in the game that will help maintain a competitive balance point. Any thoughts on that before I dive into the next bit?
Well,
about time.
Yeah, I mean, I must say that I'm having a lot of fun with PvP this year, and I probably didn't play PvP for about a year and a half, and I am having so much fun with PvP right now, much more fun than PvE. I'm enjoying hitting. I'm hitting upwards of 10 bases a day. I'm getting hit 2 to 3 times a day. It's just having a lot of fun with it. So I'm happy with what they're doing. I know there's been some bumps and some big swings, but whatever they're doing right now is positive as far as I'm concerned. If we can just avoid some of those big rocks, but as they say, if they're in a position now where the swings aren't going to be quite severe, then that's great because currently it is good. It's a lot of fun PvP again.
Yep. Okay, so Defender class hulls for Tier 7 are going to be designed differently from previous years. Defender hulls are now going to be geared towards more providing additional layers of survivability to structures and other defenders, so dealing damage directly to attacking fleets. They may also provide some utility benefits to expose attacking fleets to become temporarily more vulnerable to turrets or guard fire.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was wondering how they were going to handle the massive gap between turrets and defending ships. Because right now, if you look at the armors like that one, we have the MC1 in the picture there, or the ones from D6U and whatnot. And I mean, the Howies can deal on a crit hit. I think it's 3 million or 3.6 million damage.
3.6 million this is.
In a single freaking hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
The executioners now, if you tag team them up with the halos that they're coming out, they're going to be dealing like 1 million, 1.1 million per salvo, not per round, per salvo, right? Per each projectile. So with numbers like that, and with ships with deflections well over 1 million, and armor is like at 2 million health points, there's literally nothing that you can put on any ship that will actually do damage to incoming attackers. There's absolutely nothing. No weapon in game that you can put on a ship can do damage to these new attackers. We're playing the game of pass through, which to me is becoming boring, because it doesn't matter what the ship's good at. You gotta put chaos chain guns or fast firing rockets. These are the two options you have.
Reload is basically the most important stat in the game right now. And
reload and how many different damage types a weapon can do. So that's why the chaos is so good, because it does all 6. You find a weapon that does 2, oh, that's great, you know.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. Like, the whole pass-through thing is becoming, like, the game was meant to be simplified, but I find that when you're calculating all the deflections and the pass-throughs and the armors, it's not more simplified.
No,
you know, like, there's a lot of people that still don't understand it. Like, people, and you know, I'm not criticizing anyone. Even some of the stuff I don't fully understand all the time, and I need someone to step in and say, "Hang on a minute, Liam, you've done this." Like, for example, in some scenarios, applying armor to your ship, you know, actually makes you weaker. Like, you know, let's say you put an MC plate on a boulder, you're actually making the boulder weaker.
Yeah.
Because it already has the deflection it needs, and you're only increasing its pass-through to 350 from 20. And there's so many variables and different stats to consider in terms of calculating the pass-through in the armor. I think the pass-through has added quite a complicated stat that people haven't fully grasped yet.
And even the turrets, I mean, you're talking now about very big numbers, right? You're talking about, 1.8 million deflection versus 3.6 million damage. Oh my God, but then you go, minus 50% this, minus that deflection. Oh, I'm still doing only 360 pass-through. So why the fuck do I have to go through 3.6 million, 1.8 million, 600,000 times 3? In the end, it's 360.
And we're heavily reliant on tactical fields. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for tactical fields, then we wouldn't do nothing. I mean, and really, all we're doing is slowing them down long enough that we can tag them.
Yeah, as many times as possible.
I'd like to get back to the point where we're using defenders for defenders and not conquerors for defenders.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree with you there too. I mean, I've thought about that myself, and like, there is the line between conqueror and defender. Like, obviously a defender can't be used as a conqueror, but conquerors seem to run so well as defenders. It's almost like sometimes they're like the same bloody class. I mean, probably the best, or at least the second best defender in the game right now is a boulder. You know, and that was never designed as a defending hull.
Yeah,
and the Eviscerator.
It's what they say right there, where they, like, the last 2 lines or 3 lines, where they say that, they're gearing the defenders to be additional layers of survivability to blah, blah, blah. So they are designing defenders to be sort of like support ships that will make other ships stronger, will slow down the attacker, will reduce their reload, that kind of stuff. So the defenders are almost like in a support role where they will not kill the enemy. They will just make them reload slower or move slower, or, you know. So if you really want anything in your defense to do damage, it's pretty much, they're telling us we'll have to keep using conquerors for that.
Yeah, and see the section that when I read at the bottom where it says this, they may also provide some utility benefits to expose attacking fleets to become temporarily more vulnerable to turret or guard fire. Me personally, when I read that, it either spells to me that there's going to be a tactical field that reduces deflection passing through it, or there's going to be a tactical field on a guard that increases damage for turrets within it. So again, we're just playing with the variables, the deflection stats. So it's interesting. Anyway, I mean, I'm not heavily complacent, because, like, while it is quite complicated and while there is a lot to it, I'm having a lot of fun figuring it out. More fun than I had in PvP in the last few years. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying figuring it all out. I'm changing and altering stuff almost every single day, you know?
That's because Lucy's getting an accounting degree and she can help you with your math.
No, well, no, I'm not. I wouldn't. No, I am fantastic at maths. I'm an electrician, you know. I have to be. But to be honest, most of the time, the maths are sent to me. Like Venom, for example, he will send me the calculation on something before I've even looked at the stats. You know? So quite often the maths are people are, or even to TFC guys. I mean, you guys, you know, George and Ren, you're all shit. You know, excuse me, you're all very good at the math side of things. So, you know, thankfully people are calculating it dead quick. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to consider. You almost need an O level in maths to be able to play BP. You know, to figure it all out. It can be very complicated.
Okay, well, moving on to the last section of that update is on turrets. New Tier 7 turrets are initially released. Some will already pack a big punch, while others will start off with lower impacts. However, the new Tier 7 turrets of the same damage type will also be part of the same group, so building them together will enhance their strength. This strength will only improve over time as new turrets get released. And I think a good example of that is the new upcoming Halo turret that is in the bounty, I believe, stacks with the EXE special extra bonus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so diving right into bounty. High level, not a whole lot has changed from prior bounties. Runs from the 29th through until the 2nd. As per usual, we've got the 5 mega hull nexuses with hourly payouts, the big payout on Friday and on Monday. Of note, again this time, if you're planning on switching to an alliance for the bounty season so that you can participate in the mega hull nexus, you want to make sure that you do so before the season starts. Still got the 800 bounty drip every 6 hours. Collect one before the next one happens or it's gone. If you miss more than one bounty drip, they only store the one. We have the same checkpoints that we've had in the past, checkpoint 1 through 4 to 2,000 each. And then we've got chests for the higher checkpoints and then the massive checkpoints towards the end. Same short bubbles, often shorter than the guard repair time. And yay, the player replica bases are going to return.
Yes. Thank God. I mean, I think everyone from, you know, us to just about any player in the game was pretty much in agreement that replica bases were amazing, correct?
Yes, I think it opened up a lot of opportunities for the less than higher, you know, the mid levels and kind of the lower levels, because those folks couldn't do bounty bases, the map targets, and may have struggled with some of the higher levels that were participating in bounty. So more mid levels and more lower levels that participate in the last event generates more mid and lower level bases for this event.
Can I say, for me, like on another end of the spectrum, I think the player replica bases was a great place for me to get back into PvP, because I'd been out of PvP for so long. And I roughly had a fleet scratched up for it. And, you know, when you've not hit bases in ages, or when you're not a regular PvP player, you don't understand, you know, you lose the grasp on some of the mechanics and some of the, you know, this turret does this and this is good for this. And just to go into that event and just hit hundreds and hundreds of actual real bases was one of the best like training grounds ever.
Yeah,
you know, it gave me a chance to harness fleets, to reacquaint myself with damage types, base layouts, commonly used things, common threats, what I need to avoid, and it really was probably, you know, the key to the door that really pushed me to really start enjoying PvP again. So kudos on that, really.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I'm actually was going to do that today, but I got caught up on the slides. I was in the middle of kind of doing a bounty for beginners video, and one of the things that I mentioned in there is, even if you're not participating in bounty, you have no desire to do so, that doesn't mean that you can't go out there and practice base hitting on the base targets.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of folks last raid that were actually using some incredibly aged, for the nice term, fleets. I mean, our very own Andrew was out there smashing a lot of these bases up with Punishers and ended up with 20,000 before the end of the event. So A lot of old fleets were being used. I mean, I saw Skyfires, I saw icebreakers, I saw people with their FM fleets. You know, many different options, subs. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that's out there to do.
Yeah, I think TSM was running Sinful, Scatterguns, Gluttonies, and just autoing all the.
That's all I used. Yeah, that's all I used.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Okay, no problems.
So let's take a look at some of the toys that we can get in the bounty. The top level prize is the Warden. This is the newest Defender class hull. Significant improvements to anti-missile, anti-mortar, and countermeasure weapons. In addition, it hosts the ability to remotely target both missile and mortar weapons, too, not just one, allowing it to harass attackers from well within the safety of the base. And then here we have the stats. Anybody want to talk through some of these?
Well, the stats are kind of a little confusing, I think, when you first look at it, because it looks like it's trying to do a lot of things at once, as opposed to being a specialist in one particular area. But it is mainly a specialist as a counter ship, isn't it? But what throws me is the penetrative range, explosive range, penetrative reload, mortar reload, rocket reload. You know, I mean, there's just so much there. It's like, right, okay, so what do you put on it? It
almost looks like a fully fitted out boat set of stats.
Yeah, it's like, let's take 3 different weapons, and you know, and obviously you're not going to put all 3 different weapons on it because of the way pass-through and stuff works. But sorry, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, so it has the accuracy buff of 25%, projectile speed buff of 125%, which is absolutely great, especially for countermeasures. As said, you know, the penetrative range, explosive range, penetrative reload, mortar reload, rocket reload buffs, all pretty high figures across the board. Remote targeting range, 140%, and it does missiles and mortars. The remote targeting fall-off is minus 20%. The countermeasure range is a whopping plus 150%, which is massive. It has the built-in countermeasure reload. This is, you know, I mean, this is all before you even apply specials. I mean, once you start applying countermeasure specials, this thing is going to be nuts. But anti-mortar range plus 150, anti-missile range plus 150, anti-missile reload plus 25, anti-mortar reload plus 25. So
now, the one thing that's really interesting, Liam, sorry for interrupting you.
No, go on.
It has a very rare statistic. The very first one in the attack block, it has a generic accuracy buff of 25%.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what that means, like, there's no special that buffs countermeasure accuracy, but this ship does.
Mm-hmm.
So think of a Sprint or even the new one that comes with this ship. There's no specials to buff their accuracy, right? But this ship buffs the accuracy of anything you put on it by 25%, which is pretty cool. Yeah. It also buffs projectile speed, which is generic from countermeasures to mortars to rockets to anything. What again, you know, if you notice, read all the stats under attack. It's all about reload, range, reload, range, reload, range, reload, range, and projectile speed. You won't see any buffs to damage because, as we were just talking a few minutes ago, it's useless.
Mm-hmm.
You will not get over deflection. So you are aiming at doing 360 damage as fast as you can, as many times as you can, right? So again, I mean, instead of going for, let's say, just 2 examples, 2 silly examples, instead of going for a Manus missile that does a lot of damage but has a very slow reload, you're probably better with some other missile that does less damage but reloads faster, because you're just looking at doing as many times 360 as you can, right? The thing is, this ship, like you said, I mean, it has all these buffs for range and remote target and all that crap, but it has only 4 weapon slots, right? You read 6, but people who are reading 6 weapon slots there, 2 of them, and I have the ship open in my shipyard right now in the other tab, 2 of them are exclusive for countermeasures. So if you want to put mortars because it has remote range, you're only going to be able to put 4. You want to put missiles, you're only going to be able to put 4.
See, but I don't. Like me personally, when I look at his stats, I think that it's so good at countermeasures that why would I want to put anything else on it?
The only reason I think, and I don't know if it's related or not, because it has that special ability, but I don't think it depends on the weapons you put on it, because it has its own range, right? And it has its own, and so I don't know if it needs to have some missile or some mortar to trigger that, but it says for 10 seconds whenever it fires, like a code, not code snap, that's special, the code something.
Cryo battery?
Cryo battery, thank you. So when it hits for 10 seconds, it will leave a splash area of 30, range 30. It will reduce combat speed and turn speed by 15% and cuts deflection down by 30,000, which, again, when the ships are having 1.8 million deflection, you're talking about, 2% less deflection.
Yeah, not noticeable enough, but
will that cross the threshold of the 3 MC pates and a decked out?
It does. I mean, like when you get the Howie properly set up, I think you have a tie when you have a Howie covered by 5 fire supports, yada yada yada. On crit hits, you're doing a very small amount of damage, so you're gonna get 30k more. I mean, no, forget about the Howie because it's only explosive and penetrating. Yeah, so explosive turrets aren't doing anything right now. There's no explosive turret that can do anything. It's just execution of 2 and the Halo.
Yeah.
But
those two stacked together.
See the special abilities, a weapon type or cannot be used with and for remote targeting, weapon type missile damage, yada yada yada. But it says duplicate aura cap of 5. So does that mean you can stack that 5 times?
So I don't know how often that override happens. It doesn't say in there anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's a random override. So all it's saying is like, let's say you do 2 or 3 of those wardens and they all happen to fire their override at the same time in the same area. You're going to have 3 fields, so it's minus 45 combat speed, minus 45 turn, and minus 90,000 deflection. How often are you going to get all 3 to fire the override at the same time or within 4 or 5 seconds of each other? I don't know.
Probably as often as someone will get a 7-day token in the FM.
Well, I wonder if something very high salvoed like torrents or something would really work well in that scenario.
Not torrents, because torrents, the damage per projectile doesn't get you 360, so you're not even going to get the 360 pass through.
It does get past 360.
No.
Torrent free does. With the right special, it does.
Well, maybe.
I tested it on MSC. Remember? But it was rubbish.
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking not so much the pass through, but say for example, if torrents have got a salvo of 16 or whatever they do have, there's 16 random opportunities to get that special, that random launch override.
Yeah, you're right, because they do 3,500 damage over 16 salvos, so you're doing like 200 damage per shot without any special. So if you have something that buffs their damage by like 70% or thereabouts, you're getting 360. You're right.
Yeah, but it's not so much the pass through. But if you could just use that to exploit and trigger the random launch override, put that field on them or whatever it's going to apply, then that's all you need to do. That's done its job, because then the turrets and the other ships are going to play its part and whip it.
Yeah, but if it's like the cryo battery, it doesn't matter how many weapons you have, how often they fire. It's just every now and then it pops one cryo projectile there.
Okay. No,
okay.
I don't know. I'm assuming it works the same way because the description is very similar.
All right. Let's move along to the next set of prizes. We've got the CM-XM Reloader. This is a Drac special, improves reload of missile, mortar, rocket, and countermeasure weaponry. Another chubby special for Conquerors and Defenders only, but it does increase reload for all of those different types for 45% and 65%. Yes, very chubby.
Because the weapons now, we're talking about weapons that weigh like 900 tons, 1,000 tons.
1 tons, yep.
Right? But again, it's all about reload. And you get, for instance, that new rocket that came in FM last week or the week before. it's already, the base reload is 1 second. So at Scald rank, it's already at 0.25. You don't really need that extra rocket reload for that guy. You know.
Yep. Okay, moving on to the Explosive Force Special. Also for Conquerors and Defenders. This one's not so chubby. It does reduce explosive range, but it does increase explosive damage.
Which is useless unless you're the attacker. I mean, if you're the attacker on Conquerors, I can see that, helping you take down turrets faster, gates faster. If you're the defender, useless.
It has a possibility on sloths, I guess, doesn't it? But then...
Yeah. But you're losing range, which means you're also losing remote range.
Yeah, it kind of almost doubles, doesn't it?
Yep. Okay, and here is the new countermeasure, the Night Watch countermeasure. Specialized targeting hardware allows this countermeasure to fire at missile and mortar projectiles from significantly further away than other similar weapons. This one's 1,000 tons, talking of chubby. Range is 60 to 100, salvo of 10. Reload time is, I'm not too happy with this, 10 seconds, so Scald is still going to be a 5-second reload. It has deflections built into it as well, but it only counters missiles and mortar.
Yeah, but it's interesting because the ship has plus 150% range before any special. So you're talking about a range of 100 plus 150. So the range is 250, the max range before any specials.
Yeah.
And
then that ship hull buff of the reload.
Yeah, and then you get the new special that gives 65% reload. You get a Scald ship. It's already down to 2.5. So that thing will be reloading under a second. When you put it on the Warden with the special, it's being Scald and everything.
Yeah, and with a range of 250, you know, already has a projectile speed buff. You could add HVR for an additional 100, you know, projectile speed.
Oh, the ship gives 125.
Yeah,
projectile speed,
so you're talking about something that's going to fire. What's 250? That's like 10, 14, 12 land tiles.
14. Yeah. Oh, I don't even know. I mean,
12 and a half. It's 12 and a half.
I don't think the Epic
reaching.
The Epic Cat doesn't reach that far. I don't think 250.
Yeah, that's reaching outside your base.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is and firing at a super fast speed. In terms of, you know, the projectile speed. So yeah, I mean, that's a seriously decent countermeasure weapon. I don't know, is the accuracy 55, is that higher than your sort of standard Gales? And
it's thereabouts. I think the flanks 4 is about 55 or 65.
And interesting,
Gales are lower. Gales are like 30-something%. So that's much better than Gales.
Very interestingly, and what I do like about it is the fact that it adds penetrative and explosive deflection. Now, from a base defense point of view, if you had a hull that had enough of these on, then you potentially wouldn't need to put on some of your armors that are taking your pass through from 20 up to 350. You could maybe stack some of these, not put any armors on, and instead have a pass through damage of 20 instead of 360.
My big question, Liam, for that guy is, does it behave like a flanks or does it behave like a Gale?
Yes. And what happens when it's firing at both at the same time?
Right? Because, I mean, the Gales, we know, they will keep firing at the same projectile until they run out of reload or they kill it.
So you think it would fire 10 salvos at the same projectile?
I don't know. The flanks, on the other hand, it fires once at each missile, and if it gets it or misses it, doesn't matter. It won't fire at it again ever. So if this guy acts like a flanks, but it starts firing at mortars and it only tries once, I'm not sure that helps you.
Yeah. Interesting question.
Sorry,
I don't know. I gotta see it in action because the accuracy beats the Gales by far.
Yeah.
It only fires once. I don't know.
Just on that last one, I did actually say something there, or at least I was talking about a possibility of using that to get over pass through. But someone just pointed that in chat there, and I just seen it on the stat block. That weapon does actually add pass through to your ship, which is quite odd because normally it's armors that do that. So the new
weapons are all doing that.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah,
all the tier 7 weapons are doing that.
So it's always
Yeah,
so my idea of using it to mitigate taking pass up is out the window, guys. Apologies.
Oh.
Yeah, no, like the new rocket or that mortar, the 2XQ mortar, they all, if they're like the 2XQ has concussive deflection added, but then it adds the pass-through of 360.
Yeah. And it's not always a pass-through for every damage type, too. Sometimes it's only singles and sometimes it's a couple.
Yeah.
I ran into a couple of those the other day. Okay, moving on to the new Halo missile. This is another one for the bonus group tier 7. And I'm sorry, I really like the artwork for this one. I love the colors. This one's built on the original Halo missile design, upgrades to range as well as damage dealing capability. Uses a lot of power. This is in line with the XE2 and the Howie at 14k. Has a range of 219. Damage is 288,000 before specials. Looking at a 15-second reload time. And this one MIRVs out to 6 MIRVs.
Okay.
Now, I don't remember, and Ren, you're in the game. It was the duplicate bonus cap always 8 for the special abilities? I thought it was less than that.
Nope. The group cap was always, I can check right now. Let me open.
Was it? Okay. For some reason, I just thought it was less than that.
No, like
So-
I have the Howie here, the Howie 6, and the cap is 8.
Okay.
So what's going to happen now, we're still far from that cap anyways, because we can only have 2 Executioner 2s and 2 Halos, I believe. I'm guessing. I think it's 2 max, right, for now?
Yep.
So if that's the case, we're only going to have 4 turrets sharing the penetrative tier 7 bonus, yada, yada. 25% each, so plus 100% now when you have all 4 built. Which is the only reason, I think, to build the Halo, because with a projectile speed of 60, it don't even hit my grandma walking on the street.
Yeah. So refit a turret that doesn't have something really good on it at the front of your base or towards another area that's not up front, and then use it for the buffs, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it's only going to hit if you have like trailing ships. It may hit them, but it's not going to hit the leading ship ever.
Yep. Okay. All right. Moving on to the prize lists that we have down at the lower end for 1,700 points. We've got ship build token as well as the the pride, and the associated toys that go with it. Also, a structure token as well available at that lower level. And 1,700 points is pretty easy to get, even for the lower levels, just by taking your grants and banking those checkpoints. You should be able to get at least 1,700 points.
Quick reminder, if you get the prize, I wouldn't, but if it's all you can get, they are available for refit in the retrofit lab to make them better. Let's move on.
Okay, the 2,400 points price plate, we've got Wall Plating 3. We haven't seen this one for a while, so glad to see this back in. And then we've got the Boulder Fist, a single Boulder Fist, as well as the Crusher Cannon, the Punch Drive. And we've also got Conquest Yard tokens. Now, of course, those are the ones to build the Conquest Yard, not to build things in the Conquest Yard.
I see no use for the Crusher Cannons. Stick to Chaos Chain Guns. That's just my 2 cents.
No arguments there. At the 5,000 point level, we've got the Siege Missile. This was the new one that came out with the MSC. The Precision Missile System, as well as the Frontline Platform ZU and Alloy Panels XM.
I didn't get the special last month, so I'm going to go for it now if I can.
Nice.
Yep. And then at the 10,000 point level, you're able to go ahead and redeem one of the missile storm cruisers. You can also get a tactical focus. You're allowed to get 5 of the tactical focuses. In the past, I believe that was limited to 3, so that's been bumped up now.
But I think... Go ahead.
I was just going to say the first time it was offered was with the Onslaught, and we were only able to get 3 of them. And so we haven't seen this in the last couple of bounties. So if there are a lot of people like me where I got the Onslaught, but I was not able to go ahead and get the tactical focus, so I was very happy to see this in.
Now, I think the max you can have is 5. So if you have 3, can you only get 2?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then, of course, we've got all of the skins that were available last time. I had decked out my Hope in the corrupted Hope skin, and I must say it's looking pretty special. We've got the Boulder Fist skin, as well as the Rosa Onslaught and the Thunderbolt Missile Storm Cruiser skin.
I am desperate to get the Onslaught one and kill bases with it.
Your pink Onslaught?
Yeah, I just feel that it's a must in BP.
Okay, moving on to the 15,000 points area. This is, of course, where we're seeing all of the new stuff. Weren't these like 10,000 last time? Has this moved up?
Yeah, they were, and there was less of them. Last time there was a missile and a special at 10,000. Now there's like...
That's what I thought. I didn't get a chance to look before finishing the slides, but okay. So this has jumped up a little bit. We've got the CMXM reloaders. These, of course, are all the new ones. The Night Watch countermeasure, the Halo missile. You can, of course, get 2 of those, and then the Explosive Force. So these are where all of the new toys for the hull are at. And then we jump to the 40,000 price point level, and that's where the 2 new Warden hulls are at. So a very big jump to the next prize area.
40,000 for 2. Interesting.
Yes, only 2 available.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting set of prizes. Certainly some options. It's going to be a hell of a long weekend, but I try and nab most of it. You know.
I just want to know: are you staying in the 200s? And if so, can I have your coordinates?
That is need to know information. I may relocate mysteriously tonight, but no, I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm fairly confident. I'm in a better place than I was last bounty, and I didn't do too bad last bounty. I think I got about 70,000 last bounty, but there's a lot of stuff there that I don't have that I'd like to get. So, you know, I don't know. I'll see how it goes.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've hit bases in the past with Glads, but I have built MSCs, and I've got a couple of Onslaughts now, and I spent a lot of time hitting a lot of those map targets. So I'm going to actually drag out a surface baser and go out and hit things this time. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got two fairly decent bases together now, so I'm looking forward to. I mean, last time I think I focused on bases that weren't like crazy strong. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this time I feel that I could really push for those bigger bases and maybe bag points quicker and put less seat time in. So, you know, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, moving off of Bounty now. We did get the information this week on Revolution, which is the next raid for April, and the dates have been confirmed at April 12th through the 18th. And the Kicks announced that we're going to be getting the first Tier 7 hull for the Assault cycle.
Sorry.
And this one is also the tech store, I believe, as well.
Yes. Yeah, Kicks announced the first T7. First T7. Is this the first T7 Tier 7 PvE hull?
No, the Hydra and the Buck is already T7, right?
Were they T7? Okay, yeah. No probes. Yeah. No probes. Yeah. But it's the first Assault T7.
Yep. Okay, so those are the raid dates. We know what they are now, and we also.
I'm very glad there won't be a second hull. There won't be a TLC. There won't be confusion. Yes. Here's the one freaking thing. Build it.
Yes.
Yeah, but how many different CICs are you going to need throughout the 4 months?
Different CICs, maybe different weapons.
You know what? I'll take a 2-day. I'll take a 2-day CIC refit on a hull versus having to build a completely new one ×5.
Yep.
And then not to count the flagship, which is 3 times as long as anything else.
Yeah, I mean the escalation stuff, you know, on both fleets. Like I refitted Bucky's last month. I'm refitting Hydras this month, and trying to do Dragons in the middle of it is just. Yeah, it's a bit mad.
Now, 2 things on armor, right? And Cuttlefish brought that up on chat. So are we going to see C2CO charged armor or a C2M charged armor? Or are we going to see a combined, like we saw on FM, a junior C1 CR? Maybe you're going to see now a junior C1 COM charged armor for that. We still have all those questions up, right? We don't know.
Nope, don't know for those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to the bug fixes and rebalancing. Somebody else want to take this one, or
I can go with this. Yeah, no problem. So, the bug fixes and rebalancing. Fix an issue where combat was crashing on live. I don't know if anyone experienced that. I didn't experience that, but must have been happening. Fixed an issue where a weapon had no build time associated with it. Was that perhaps linked to the first couple of days of the new launcher?
Yes.
Yeah. Lucky buggers. I didn't get mine done.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah. Fixed an issue where Countermeasure Loader 4 and Warhead Reloader were not stacking properly. Interesting. Reverted a change where low frame per second would cause projectiles not to render. Thank God. So does that mean we're going to see what's killing us now?
Yes, they backed that out.
Awesome. Thank God. That was a great move by Kix. Kudos.
Yes!
Oh, Jesus, almost a heart attack. that was a really good move because that was just daft. That was just the most silliest thing I've ever heard. Reduced build time on the Hope by 48 hours to now be 126 hours. Okay, interesting. What was it before and what is it now then? Well,
I want to say it was 5 days, wasn't it?
Right. I thought it was 6, maybe. Not sure. Anyway, no problem. And this is the most significant one. Well, it's a very important one. So I'll read it slowly. Corrected a problem with duplicate aura caps not working properly for tactical mods in the base. Did anyone here notice this going on?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Quite specifically, for anyone that has been under a rock for the last week, maybe in last week's update, there was a bug released into the game that was allowing tactical fields to stack. In particular, Fire Support 2 and Fire Support 1. You could have 5 Fire Support 2s and 5 Fire Support 1s on your island stacking, which was allowing Howie's critical hit to go well beyond your pass through and really kill your fleet when it shouldn't be, even if you're all running free of the MC plates. Is that correct?
It was instant death. It didn't matter what you brought in, how much armor. You could have brought a Sherman in there and it was going to die instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically things weren't working as they should have been, and yeah, people were able to take damage values much higher than they should have been. Not just for Howie's, but I guess for EX2s and other turrets too. I guess it was scale, but it was most significantly noticed on Howie's because all my fleets were decked out with MC MC plate armor ×3, and I hit a couple of bases and I was getting wiped out in a couple of shots, which obviously is not what was meant to be happening. So I'm glad they sorted it. I'm glad they fixed it. It's not something I tried, but it's something I've seen. But yeah, is that it?
Yes, that was it for the slides anyway.
Okay. Well, not too bad. We've gone 3 minutes over. Before we close or come near to closing, is there anything else you guys want to throw in?
Just hope people have fun at Bounty. If not doing actual PvP, hitting the replicas, it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's learning. It exposes people to what the game used to be back when it was really, really, really fun thing to do. So get going with that. Do the TLC, do Bounty, get those tokens for Conquest Yard, get that build. Go have fun doing PvP. It's really fun.
Yeah, and plan yourself accordingly. I mean, there is checkpoints. If you're not a massive PvP player, hit the checkpoints. Go out. Say you've got an hour to play. Go out and get 2,000 points, and then just don't touch it. Come back to it tomorrow. Go out and get another 2,000. You can plan yourself in a way that you're not going to get smashed to pieces and have everything taken off you. There is ways to do stuff.
There are some tactics for that, and hopefully, if I can get this video finished, I've gone over a bunch of tactics on how you can, as a mid or lower level, hold on to your bounty and bank it quickly and secure it so that nobody can steal it from you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Right. Well, when Rue's got that video together, we'll also put it into the link of this show. We'll put it into the description of this YouTube video. So for anyone watching back, hopefully that link will be in there soon for you guys to catch up on.
Yep.
But guys, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to cover?
No, I'll be putting 2 videos out tonight as well. Since Rue did her ad, I'll do mine.
Yeah, and
He's going to steal my thunder.
While
one of them is just because I finally did an expedition with my chameleons. They survived, so I'm going to show only 4 ships and not fully built, but they were able to get through it. So I'll just be showing that. And the other one is just prize packs 1 and 2 of this new Abyssal whatever TLC.
Excellent.
Yeah. And guys, while we're on the subject of advertising, TFC, myself, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK time, excuse me, which I think is about an hour after Bounty kicks off, or a couple of hours after Bounty kicks off. It'll be on the TFC YouTube, but the event is up in the page, and I'll get it pinned sometime tomorrow. But it'll be a live stream of me going out and trying out Bounty initially, maybe killing myself a few times. You know, might be a good laugh for you all. So definitely come and check that out. But,
so I like to thank all the 113 people watching now, and the one guy who shows up every week to hit this like on the video before it's over.
Yeah.
Thanks for being consistent and showing up every week as well.
Yeah,
he was early one week and rocked up, and there was a dislike before we even went live.
Right? I mean, that's love.
Yeah.
I think it could be, but do you guys? I'll ask you after, right?
No, it doesn't matter. But thank you to everybody for showing up, and as always, thanks for your help on the page.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, without you guys, the community, we wouldn't be here. So thank you everyone for the support. Thank you everyone for coming and watching the show. Of course, there'll be an open mic as well on Saturday, where we can maybe discuss how everyone is finding the bounty. So please come and join us for that one. But other than that, have a good week. Get as much of your TLCs and FM done before Bounty kicks off, because then that way you won't be stressed out come Monday. And that's it. Happy sailing.
Good night.
Good night.